Hello friends, my name is Steve Guttenberg and I am the audiophiliac. And today's show, well, it breaks the format because I'm going to do just one system. It's a viewer system of the day, but just one system because it's this complete video. It's my friend Ben's system. And it is a rather extraordinary system, as you're about to see. So yeah, let's just get to it. You know, I was here just a few days ago and I had an epiphany about the sound of your system. So you invited me back. I'm glad I came back here to do this. And I thought, well, we should do a tour of the system because though we made a video together before, a lot has changed.
Yeah, some things have changed.
Really,
yeah.
It's like, you know, your system before was good. That was really good.
I appreciate that. I mean, I'm really just trying to please you, Steve. So,
I know, and it's working. So you're making all the right moves.
Maybe I'm done now.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
you're not done. Because you are an audiophile. Anyway, so we're going to go from left to right in your system and talk about the changes. Now, the first thing, though, is the sub, which is the same sub, but it's in a different position, right?
Yes, you had mentioned to me in the past that that maybe I want to move them outboard instead of having them inboard because
they were on the other side. Yeah.
Because they were pushing my speakers too far apart,
right.
Which it's always the battle for me about what looks good versus what sounds good.
I understand. Yeah. Well, it sounds better.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm happy with their configuration now. Though I wish they made thinner subs and smaller subs.
Well, size matters.
Yes.
So anyway, so the speakers, now the horn itself is the same as it was before.
Yeah,
right?
Most of the actual components are the same. What's changed is I worked on a custom build with Devin.
Devin Turntable.
To make the speaker a little bit better set up for the kind of near field listening environment that I have here. And you know, to get the tweeters a little bit more inboard, and to,
right. Because where were the tweeters before?
They were the cabinet was oriented horizontally, so the two main drivers were side by side, and the tweeter was in the center.
Right.
And so what we did with this one is we stacked them, gave the cabinet
are now vertical, or before they were horizontal.
Right, and we gave the cabinet a more vertical orientation. And then move the tweeters onto one side, so I can either be, outside or inside with them. And since I'm trying to get them as close together as possible in this particular configuration, we just moved them. We arranged them so they're on the inside.
Right, and it's a different tweeter. It's a TAD tweeter.
Yeah. So this is the new re-released 703 TAD tweeter, and now I guess they call it the 703A. And they were just started shipping, I guess, very recently, and it was right around the same time that Devin and I started talking about this new build, and so we designed the speaker to house these new tweeters, and they arrived just as the cabinet was finishing.
Mm. So the crossover itself is the same as it was before, but you introduced these level controls, right?
Yeah. It allows me to essentially make the tweeter louder or the horn louder.
Relative to the woofers.
Yeah, and also to change the slope between them. So there's three controls on the that's actually built into the back of the speaker now.
Wow, that's great.
And so I just wired the old crossover to those switches, and now it allows me, as I'm changing things around, if I want to play with it more, I can kind of make those adjustments real time without having to open the whole thing.
That's great. That's really good.
Yeah, it made a huge difference.
I bet. So I don't think you had the reel-to-reel when I was here last.
No, the reel-to-reel has been a rabbit hole for the past year or so. I love it and hate it. It sounds amazing. The stuff we play back on it is just, I think, is next level in terms of a source. It is a bit of a headache. I've spent a lot of time having to repair parts because it came from a radio station. And it seemed for the first 6 months or so, something else was breaking like every month or so. And then I had to, at a certain point, most of the internals ended up getting rebuilt.
But most importantly, you changed the electronics, the playback electronics.
Yeah. And then at a certain point, we just wired directly to the head. And I worked with a friend, Nick Doshi, up in Virginia to help just essentially bypass the preamplifier in the reel-to-reel, and then to use.
And where is that in the rack?
That's on the bottom, and that's Nick's preamplifier, which is kind of next level if you're into the tape thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, it sounds amazing. It really does. Better than the turntable.
I would call it different. I think it depends on what you're listening to. As we were talking about before, I think with classical music specifically, the reel-to-reel really shines, and that's just because of the extreme dynamics there are between, the most subtle moments of a symphony or orchestral music in general, and then the kind of louder moments. The tape really captures that in a way that records don't. And so in a way, I think the tape machine has become my sort of go-to source when I really want to sit down and focus on classical music. Whereas other things that you are just not available on tape, and I think other types of music that just do better with vinyl. And one of the interesting things is that there's a decent amount of jazz available on reel-to-reel, but I don't find there to be quite as big of a difference listening to jazz music on a reel-to-reel as you do with a record. It tends to be much closer, whereas classical, there's a much broader, much bigger difference in what you're hearing.
Okay. So the amps are new, right? New to you.
New to me. They're used amps. They're by a German maker named called TW Acoustic, and I bought them used off of a friend, Jeffrey Catalano.
And it's 300B?
Yeah, they're 300B amps, and those are the new Western Electric reproduction tubes, and then a different rectifier tube.
Okay. Turntable, it's the same turntable, same bass as before, but this is a new arm, right?
Yeah, and that's probably the newest addition to the system. I thought the old arm that I had was great, but it was a little bit fussy, manipulating it, trying to align it, especially when you were trying to listen to things that were sort of not the first track on the record. And this arm is just a lot more accurate to position.
What's the name of it?
This is an Acoustic Signature, and I think it's their kind of new line. A mutual friend of ours is working with them now on some stuff, and he introduced me to them.
And the cartridge?
The cartridge is the same, airtight Opus 1, and I've had it for a couple years now.
Okay. I think we've done it.
Okay.
We have, or have I forgotten anything?
No, I think that's everything. Everything else was existing in the system before, I believe. The biggest change was the speakers and probably amplifiers.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.